Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hello, children. Have an interesting question. Had to do a little bit of research. So the answer's not going to be that long, but God almighty, I had to look up things. I didn't have the answers right at the tip of my fingers. God damn it. Hi, Aaron. Do you think that the narrative that white people are rat bastards that need to pay because they have privilege and cause all the world's problems that the education system and the media are portraying is playing a significant role in the decline of white births in America? Do you think that in the future it will cause a decent amount of white people to think twice about bringing a white child into this world? It has me, but that's just me. The numbers actually don't bear that out. And we'll get into my speculation as to why that is. But across all races, birth rates have gone down, fertility rates. And I don't think, here's the data. The only racial groups, and that's not even a replacement rate now that I think about it, the only racial groups that have above 2 are Hispanics and Pacific Native Islander people. And it's not, I think you need a 2.2 per parent birth for replacement because kids die. Some kids don't have kids. So you need a little bit more than 2. No one's there. Hispanics are 2.006. The Pacific Native American 2.09. Everybody else is below. And on average, we're at like 1.77. So Americans as a whole, pretty much every racial category is below it. If again the replacement rate is 2.2, which I remember it to be. Nobody's at replacement rates. And then also, fertility rates for all races has gone down. So this is not strictly a white phenomenon. Although I think we are Asians. Who's at the bottom? Yeah, Asians are like, screw this. Asians are having even less kids than white people. Whites are down there along with, American Indians are down with us. Pacific Islanders are the ones. So only people out in the Pacific, only in Hawaii. So even American Indians, like Indian Indians, they are kind of on par with the white guys. Do you think that in the future it will cause a decent amount of white people to say, everything from the media going out of their way to make the white guy look like a little bitch compared to the black guy in many of the commercials to SJW. Hey, James Bond's a chick now. Who knows? To all the dirt being thrown around about white people on social media and the education system, there are a lot of red flags. Your thoughts? No doubt about it. You can't go. The public schools, the politics, the media, they have a hate boner for whites, specifically white males. There's no doubt about that. And it's very clear. Just go. I always got a kick out of driving through North Dakota. And it's like all the advertisements, it's like the Rainbow Coalition. They didn't do any tailoring. I remember in the 80s, back in the 80s, if you drove through the black part of town, the billboards would have black models. I remember specifically cigarettes because you could used to have that. So marketing companies were smart enough to say, well, this is predominantly whatever, Hispanic, white, black. We should have black models here. You go to a Target. You know who shops at Target? Prissy white people shop at Target. You can't get enough minority models. I mean, you walk in, and I lived in the whitest McWhitey place that ever whited, the WBL. You go to the Target there. It's like, and you look, and the people shopping do not match what is being advertised. And it doesn't change now. So I think maybe marketing people are getting a little bit lazy where, okay, we just have this Rainbow Coalition. We don't tailor it to local economies or local populations, demographics. It's, here it is, everybody, it's the diversity Burger King's Kids Club. So that's now regardless of where you go. So you'll drive to North Dakota, there's not a black person around for 200 miles. And yep, here's a picture of a black model advertising, internet access or whatever. So I think a lot of it is laziness on the part of marketing people. I know a lot of it is these people learn their programming. They were conditioned in business schools because diversity was all the big thing. Blame Gen X on this one. They couldn't shove diversity up our ass enough. Like, oh my God, diversity. So all these marketing people know is diversity. Social justice warrioring, virtue signaling. That's all they know. I don't know if you notice that. That's all corporations do now for advertising. Hollywood, media, same thing. Where do they get their conditioning and programming? They got in the schools and college. All it is we got a diversity. And no, and tragically and sadly, to everyone's loss, we don't get any new good movies. We just get old movies where it was a white dude, and now it's a black quadriplegic chick. Female Ghostbusters, I guess. What is it? The Disney thing. Ariel, the mermaid girl, she's now black. It's like, so it's there. You see it, but I don't see that translating directly into white people having less kids. Even the hate, the true, you got privilege. That shit that came out. No, maybe you just had more kids than you should have, or maybe you majored in stupid shit. Maybe you should have done X, Y, and Z. It ain't whitey over there. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Angering as that might be, intellectually dishonest and disingenuous as that might be, it doesn't really translate into lower birth rates. So there's something happening nationwide in the United States that is deterring everybody from having kids to the point no racial group has a replacement rate. None. And so what I think it is not so much race. I think it is the battle of the sexes. And this is just me speculating, but I'm probably right because I'm me. Because to have the babies, it takes a boy and a girl. And it doesn't matter what race they are. And I think the source of everybody having less children is that we have weaponized and villainized the sexes against one another. So there's only really two areas that I could really think of that would explain why we're having less kids, white or not. And the main two are feminism and obesity. And feminism, I've come up with 3 subcategories within, which I think after I explain them, you'll be like, yeah, it's enough for me not to have kids because it was for me. And you talk to guys, and women may have reproductive control, but men have marriage control. We're the ones who determine whether or not we're going to propose or not. And men are getting married later, having less kids, and so you're starting to see like, oh, something's amiss. So we're talking 60s feminism, where again a full-on hate boner for men existed, and the 3 subcategories, sub-trends, whatever, that is causing a deterrence in people having kids. 1, divorce. If any of you were latchkey kids, that weighed heavily on you today. If your parents got divorced, you saw that, you're like, fuck that shit. Fuck that. Also, if you came from a divorce, or maybe your parents were never married, a dysfunctional home, single parent, you came from a financial disadvantage, and it's scored in your brain real quick like, dude, I can barely support myself, let alone a kid and a family. And so just getting to square one, you're starting from a disadvantage, come from a divorce home, broken family, whatever. It takes a while to get back to square one. I didn't get to square one until I was 30. I think a lot of you boys and gals out there too, you probably didn't get back to square one until you were 30 as well. And also, you're kind of happy with square one because it's like 3 squares a day, and you can actually afford rent now, and your car isn't breaking down all the time. And now people, why do you want to get married? Your divorced parents, I love it. Why do you want to get married? Why do you want to have kids? Like, fuck off. Fuck you, lady. I like eating. I don't know about you, but I like not starving. I like having gas in the tank. No, I'm not going to have a parasite kid running around. So a pure survival kind of kicks in for a lot of you. Divorce also deters the number one, purchasers of marriage, which is men. We determine whether or not we're going to propose to a girl or not. And man, when you see your old man go through divorce, or you see your buddies go through divorce, and the hell that, like, you're like, no. It's just not worth it. And then you throw the court system in, and you start seeing what men pay, and how you don't have your kids, and how you don't have possession, and all the horror stories. I mean, just watch the video I did with Rich Cooper and Terrence Popp on divorce for never married men, I think is what we called it. So for those of you who have never been married, you wonder what it's like. Oh, it's like, what did Robin Williams say? Something about having your dick pulled out of your nostrils or something like that. You don't need, like the third baseman catches a line drive to the nuts. You don't need to play professional ball and have a ball driven into your nuts to know that hurt. I mean, every guy's just like, ooh. I mean, you're just like, maybe I don't want to play third base. Maybe I just want to live in sin and have sex with a vasectomy. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Oh, it is. So that court system, the finances, you see these destroyed, broken men. Especially when you get old and you start seeing some of your older buddies get married and then get divorced. No. And so that is feminism. Divorce is feminist driven disproportionately. It's not solely due to feminism. Divorce was, but the acceptance of divorce, the divorce, right? You're proud, you're strong, you divorce him, you take him for everything. That hails from 60s feminism. Also hailing from, I wouldn't say necessarily 60s feminism, I'm not against this either, is the careerism of women, careerism in education. Again, I am all for you ladies getting a degree and majoring in the right thing, as long as you major in the right thing, not sociology or women's studies, some other kind of bullshit. I want women to be successful, I want women to be treated equally, and I want you fuckers paying taxes. You want to vote for free shit? All right, sweetheart, you're paying the tax. But no, on a more serious intellectual level, I do want women to have careers of some kind. I mean, a real one, not a fake one. But feminism has really overdone it, and at the expense of women's biology. They're doing it wrong. They're doing a cart before the horse. Women should be pushed into careers after they've had kids. And that's not because I want to keep a woman down and keep her dependent on a man. I'm saying that because of menopause, biology, reality, not opinion. You girls are freezing your fucking eggs. That's the indication something's wrong. But he's just a misogynist bastard. Even told you major in a good field so you could close the wage gap, because he does actually have your best interests at heart. It no doubt to you young men today, and it was turned up pretty loud in my day, but now it's a religion, careerism. It's not, go get a career. Yeah, you should have something after you have your kids and all that. Women are just indoctrinated and beaten into their head that the only thing that gives them value is their education and their career. Even if their career is completely worthless and pointless in a welfare job, a welfare jobs program, which is all social work, all teachers pretty much, that nonprofit bullshit. They are conditioned not to be wives or mothers, but to go into career and education. And if women aren't looking for marriage, they're not looking to become mothers, well, that dries up the supply side of the family formation. I guess we could switch supply and demand, really doesn't matter. But if one half of the population is not ready to get married or have kids, that is obviously, during their most fertile years, that is going to postpone at minimum or delay or make it never happen that women are going to have kids. And I think we see a lot of this to testify to the numbers we see where it's not just white people. Minority women are, you want to talk about who's getting the brunt of the Marxist leftist brainwashing that the only thing that matters is a career and fuck guys. It's minority women. They want those women in college. They want them in debt. They want signing up for student loan. They want them out working. They want them out paying tax. So again, it's not just white people, but all women are being heavily propagandized that you got to have a career. You can't rely on a man. The only thing that gives you value is your career. And children really are a thing. Although we saw that happening before with baby boomer women, where you had a kid for the sake of having a kid, then you had to go and have your career. And so, and another thing, all this stuff has been happening way before social justice. I mean, the divorce fad, where you didn't know this, I was around in the 70s. What they would do is the baby boomers would gather around a fire pit and they'd all jerk off to the fire pit in honor of the divorce god. They had divorce ceremonies. Even if they weren't married, they'd worship at the altar of divorce. It was crazy in the 70s. It was just crazy. So this stuff has been going on way before social justice warrior. The push for women to go into careers, way before social justice warriors. It was happening in the 90s, when it was happening in the 70s and 80s with baby boomer women. And then the third thing hailing from feminism is just an absolute, at the worst, it is a hatred, a genuine hatred of men. And at best, a distrust of men. Every young gal that, not that there's been a lot, but there's been a fair amount of young women who are like, I can't get married to a man. I don't want to be financially dependent on a man. I need to have my career. And okay, but then you try to explain the menopause thing and somehow talking about biological reality, in fact, makes you a misogynist, and you're like trying to help you out for your best interest here. There is a bias being against men being taught, whether that is outright misandry and hatred of men, or a mere distrust. We got to compete against men. Women are not looking at men as partners or a team member to form team family. They got to compete. They got to prove it to men. They got to be Captain America. They got to show, and they're going to do it through their career, related to the career. But really, given, men have male privilege. We saw at that Seattle school, the International School of something, women are perfect. You go to these women empowerment seminars, it is man hatred. I've had several female agents in the field come back like, oh my God, Aaron, it's not like they just want you to get your career. No, they hate men. They really hate men. And it's not that all women hate men, but there is definitely the authority, the official stance coming from government, media, corporate America now, is at best a distrust, at worst a genuine hatred. They are the enemy. You must compete in war against them. Which, if you're trained to hate or distrust men, well, it's kind of hard to form a family with them. And even if you do form a family with them and you put more value on your career, you're going to have the one or two token children, and that's it, because your career is more important than your family. The kids are a thing. The husband is a thing. The SUV is a thing. The curtains are a thing. The washer is a thing. And the trip to Europe is a thing. They're all things. They're not family. And so what you'll often see is people who like children, they actually love their children. They'll have 6 or 7 or 8 because they just love children so much. I don't know how they do it. They do it. But there's very few people out there today having children because they love them. And they have it because they're things. And begrudgingly, increasingly begrudgingly, I think a lot of women, fine, stick your penis inside of me if we have to. They go through the birth, and then, again, I am just shocked at how many people ship their kids off to daycare. Just shocked. Anyway, so those 3 things coming from feminism really put a cripple on the number of kids being born, because you really are deterring women and men, both sides of the equation, from having a kid. Divorce, the divorce laws, the finances, and young men coming from divorced families, you're just not in a position to propose. And you probably don't want to have kids. You're probably like a little gun shy. So that's one thing. The careerism and education of women comes first, and then it's a race to see if you can have a kid under the biological wire. So that mathematically postpones, you skip your most fertile years, and then maybe women get around to having the kid. And then a genuine misandrist view of varying levels of degrees, either a distrust or an outright hatred of men. It's really hard to have kids with people that you hate and distrust. And I talked about this with T.J. Martinell. It's almost becoming like some insects, namely the praying mantis and the black widow. I know it's not an insect. I know it's an arachnid. where you see this, it happens in nature where, the woman really hates the guy so much that they'll attack it and kill the guy after they copulate. And I'm not saying a little bit of harkening back to millions of years ago that women have a little bit of Black Widow genetic, but there's something there. There's something there where it's this hatred, like, oh, if I want to continue on, I have to be with you. I'll kill you. And it's like, all right, but then go to the sperm bank and not kill us. Here's the sperm bank, go over there. So that's the three main things hailing from feminism. The only other thing that I could think of was obesity, where both men and women are getting fat and physically revolting. This has been ongoing since the baby boomers, but it's just getting more and more so. You look at all generations today, they're getting fatter, they're getting grotesque. Who wants to have sex? I mean, that right, if you're not sexy, if you're ugly, that's a big deterrent to having sex. And you need to have sex to have kids. It's not so much happening in the millennials and Gen Z because they're too young, so they got youth on their side. But also the bodily mutilation, particularly of women, but men are doing this too. Or you could say the androgynousification of the sexes, where the opposite sex is just not sexy. I mean, the millennial boys, I feel bad for millennial girls. I mean, you got soy boys. Holy shit. I'm sorry there's no Cary Grant. I'm sorry you got the Try Guys. I'm really sorry. Who wants to have sex with that? Nobody. I bet you even, like, if you got an unattractive spouse, you're probably not as fertile. I don't know. Maybe someone who's a biologist can tell me. And then the women, we don't have to go over it again. Nose piercings, ear piercings, lip piercings, tongue piercings, tattoos, shaved head. I don't need. Oh, okay. Yes, we know. You don't need no man, fish, bicycle. We know. I don't care how thirsty guys are. And I think, there's articles out there kind of confirming that the millennials are having less sex than any generation since the 1920s. And I can't blame them because jerking off to porn would probably be a hell of a lot better than having sex with your average millennial. I even got my millennial shirt. Look at that. See? There we go. No day is complete without picking on the millennials. Aaron, don't you think they'll learn from the forges of fire? Nope. So those four things is what I really think is having an effect on lowering birth rates. The weaponization and the war between the sexes that feminism has created. And then just the physical revulsion of men and women today where no one wants to have sex. But that's across the board in terms of race. And the numbers bear that out. It's not just white people not having kids. It's everybody not having kids. And as I pointed out before, so it's not SJW. These trends have been happening long before SJW. The creation of SJWs is a relatively recent event, probably within the past 10 years. I remember the 90s. We need social justice. Like, shut up, you fucking lazy bum. Just get the hell out of my face. You just want other people's money. And that's what it is today. But the actual SJWs, the privilege thing, all that, that's relatively recent. 15 years at the most going back with, school, media, government's hatred for white people and males. That's gone back long before, that is relatively recent, but the decline in birth rates has been happening long before that. And I think it really does hail from feminism, which coincides very close to the 60s, and then the divorce Olympic of the 70s, and the constant shoving in the face. Like, all right, lady, I'm in the 3rd grade, I just want to play with my ball. Let me go. That's been happening. That was happening in the 70s. I remember going to school in the 80s, early 80s. I can do anything you can. I'm 6 years old. Good. Can I play with this frog? Fuck you, Mrs. So-and-so. She's dead now, probably, but God almighty, if I'd see her, I'd punch her. And then obesity. You just can't ignore that physical fact. Ugly people ain't gonna fuck. There we go. Ugly People Ain't Gonna Fuck. The latest book by Aaron Clary. So there you go. All right. If you would kindly get the book Bachelor Pad Economics. You can find that on Amazon.com. For you ladies out there, because again, I hate you so much. That's why I want you to be successful and close the wage gap. Get the book Worthless. There's other books I got here. I'm just trying to promote them and get more sales so I don't have to work. Cappy wants to retire. Cappy wants to retire. All right, we'll see you guys later. Links to all my cool shit down below. Toodles.